Welcome to FOP day 15. Is day 15? I don't know, man. I lose track of my days.
think it's
Um,
16.
16? Yeah, I think it is 16. Did I drop day 15 already in the Slack channel or no? The video?
Uh, I
I don't know if I did. Rework. Uh, I did not. There we
yeah, I
go.
see 14.
And there is 15. Cool. I'm super late on these, man. They take a while to upload and whatnot. Um, so I tend to be late on that. But yeah, today we're going to finish off. Hopefully, today we're going to finish off the RegEx and ASCII. What's today? Wednesday. And then upon completing that, we're gonna do some coding challenges, some pure programming, and target a little bit of the blind 75. Kind of just prepare before the start of the immersive program. Very low stress stuff. Just to stay behind the computer and code a little bit. Uh, have someone review your code as you code along. Pair program is going to be something you guys are going to do in the immersive program. You're going to be assigned to groups at random. And then within these groups, depending on how big your class is, the group might be 4 or 5 people big. Each group will be assigned a TA, which will be with you throughout the entirety of the course. Um, but there'll be days where you will be doing pair programming and days where you will be doing group work and days where you'll be doing individual work. The pair programming days, you will get partnered with either someone in your group or someone random, uh, where you will be given some allotted time, usually about an hour, where you'll spend the first 30 minutes where one people would be driving and the other person will be called navigating. Uh, Driving would be the person who is actively coding. The person navigating would be the person watching you code, and they're essentially just watching and listening to you as you code along and talk through your code. 'Cause sometimes as we code, we tend to get tunnel vision. I know I do. You kind of get tunnel vision on certain things. You'll miss stuff. You might be overthinking it, whatnot. And having doing that pair programming, having someone watching you code is able to see stuff that you will miss. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of that, kind of getting used to that, and helping us improve our coding overall. But so far, did anyone have any questions from what was covered yesterday? Okay, so we are reaching the tail end of um FOP. Hopefully, you guys are getting something out of this. Um, we're gonna pick up from where we left off. Yesterday, we did the first five uh questions of the regex practice. We're gonna do the next five, just like we did yesterday. Um, I think some of us struggled. Um, we'll start off the day like that, and then once we're done with all five, we'll cover them. I think we will do, one person will talk about through one and whatnot, and switch back and forth between other people. But let's target the next five. If you did the next five on your own afterwards, then do the next five. All right. I don't know if some of you guys work ahead. Has anyone completed all 20 of them? Okay, good. This is some things to do. Okay, do the next five. I'm here if you guys have any questions, all right? If I do have my camera off, does that mean I'm not here? I don't want you guys looking at me eat or something. All right, cool. Next five, please. So 6 to 10. Cody, do you want to tackle 6 and 7? And Dino, you want to do 8 and 9? Joseph, 10? You guys good with that?
Yeah, I can give it a shot. I'm actually stuck on there, so I'd like to go through with you. I didn't
Okay.
get to 10.
Okay, who got a 10? Okay.
I made it.
All right, so Eric, let's see 6 and 7. Daniel can do 8 and 9. Cody can do 10.
So I was troubleshooting a internet thing, which was my camera was off, so I didn't really get to work on it.
Okay, that's fine.
I
You,
can go ahead and try.
all right, go ahead, Daniel. Send it.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So right here, so it says write a function that uses regex expression to return a list with all the words that start with A or E. The input, the following example creates an array list with 50 elements, and we want
Can
the
you,
output to be
would you mind zooming in on your screen?
yeah, let me see if I know the command for that.
Command plus or control plus should work.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right, so for number 6, so what I did was I made the pattern A, so I made the brackets so it searches only A and only E, and we want to search for the beginning of A, and then I believe that /W was the words after it. So for example, so the first word that comes up is example. So the /B would capture the E, and then it would capture all the rest of the word with the /W, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, and then you want to move on to number 7, or you want to keep talking about number 6?
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So number 7, so it says write a function that uses regex expression to abbreviate road as RD in a given string. Example, 21 Rainbow Road, output 21 Rainbow Road without the OA. So I just did the read.sub method. So it finds whatever word that has road in it, replace it with RD, and then it prints out with the new string, given this example right here.
Cool, cool.
Is there anything I could make my code a little bit better, or is there anything that criticism?
I mean, no, that's a pretty simple problem.
Okay. And then I was stuck on 8 a little bit. I couldn't tell you what.
Okay, well, let's try it.
Okay.
Use regex 101, copy that string pattern.
So let's see. All right. So right here. So I'm a little stuck right here. So I only was able to capture the first space. So I was wondering if maybe I should do the plus, but it looked like it didn't capture anything. And I tried to do the asterisk, but it didn't capture anything. So that's where I was a little stuck. And I kept on going back to the slide.
Use so we got the space, put a after the space, put a comma and put a period. Then capture it.
No.
Uh, use the for the space, use the backward slash S.
Backward slash S.
That's forward slash backward slash.
Oh, okay.
Backward slash
Oh, and that
S.
captures the white space.
Yeah, it does. Do the plus sign again at the very back. And it's not doing it. Okay.
I was wondering if anyone else did this problem.
Mm,
So what I think is going on there, I think you need to put the global flag on. I don't think it's on.
You say global?
Yeah, you press where that comma is.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Where? Where was the comma?
No, so for the
That's
regex flags, I
the
didn't have global
quotation
on.
mark.
Okay.
Okay, that makes
Ah,
sense. Thank you.
take off the plus.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then that should work with this code right here. So pattern, put that.
Wait, the reg and then the parentheses, take out the exclamation mark.
And then find all, no, I'll do sub and then replace pattern with some string and then
You want to replace it with colons, right?
with the colons, right? And then,
Take out that extra colon.
oh. All right. Looks like it passed. Thank you so much. I didn't realize that I had the global on.
Ah. Oh, I wouldn't have realized it either. Good job, Mikhail. I like having you here, Mikhail. Very helpful. Cody, 9 and 10. Daniel,
Okay.
why not? Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, for 9. Is that big enough?
Mm-hmm.
All right, it says write a function that uses regex expression to return a list of all words exactly 5 characters long. So my expression, I just put R and then I put /v, so it begins with, and then /w is lowercase and uppercase letters with underscore also, and then 5. And so it just selected, so that would return everything with exactly 5, no less or no more, as long as it's the characters. And so you'll see question 9, I got quick, brown, and jump, which is what we need to return there. And then for 10, write a regex expression to return a string that has all extra spaces removed. So what I did was I wrote a substitute, and then I had the regex there, and I just put the space, so put backslash space plus, so it picks all the spaces, whether it's 1 or 55 or however many, and I just replaced it with 1. So it's not as efficient because it replaces all the single spaces with 1 also, but it goes through and got question 10, and that's how I did that one. So, and that's 9 and 10 for you. Any questions?
That's
I
an
don't
interesting way
know
of
if I
doing it.
need this. Yeah, I don't need that. So
Okay. Well, it worked.
what?
All right, man.
Yep.
Uh,
Thanks.
no problem. We're gonna go ahead and work on the next 5 at 6:20. Take a break. We're gonna go to 6:30, and we come back. We're gonna do whatever you guys got up to, and then we'll call it there for regex. I think doing all 20 is a little overkill. We're gonna move on to the ASCII characters, and then move on with the lecture. I think that's best. But it's not meant to make you a pro at regular expressions, but enough to be able to mess around with it and come up with a solution. All right, so I'll continue working on the next ones and then go on break at 6:20. All right, let's go ahead and come back. Go ahead and share my screen. So we ended up on the regex practice. We are going to conclude that. If you guys want to get more practice, you do have the remainder of the questions you guys can go through on your own. Not mandatory, but it does help if you feel a little bit unsure. But besides that, I think it's time to move along. Yeah. So next is gonna be pretty short. It's gonna be the ASCII values. We're gonna talk about them. There is an assignment for the ASCII values, but it's a little. You won't really need to use anything regarding the ASCII values in the immersive program. It's helpful to know, but it's not breaking. If you guys have used JavaScript, I'm sorry, not JavaScript, Java before, you're probably familiar with the ASCII values. It's very common to talk about them when you first start off. So yeah, so let's get into it. All right, so it's gonna be a small little intro to ASCII values. Pronounced ASCII. ASCII stands for the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. It's based on the idea of using numbers to represent text. Here on the right, you have a small little snippet of what it looks like. In this manner, entire blocks of text can be represented by a series of numbers that can be easily stored in a computer's memory. All right, so pretty much any character on your computer has some kind of number value. All right, the next slide has a small little chart of the 128 characters. It goes from 0 to 127, similar to your list index. Here you see, the entire alphabet, the numbers, any symbol that you can think of. Yeah, it's all represented by a number value. ASCII is a subset of Unicode. Unicode is the universal character representation for text in computer processing, regardless of platform, device, application, or language. So every character in every language, even emojis, have a number representation somewhere in the Unicode standard. It's not something that's gonna break or make your career, but it's also just important to know that what ASCII values are and how they exist. Right, ASCII values in Python, so you're able to actually convert your values into their ASCII representation, and then even back. The OR method returns the character into its ASCII value, and the character turns an ASCII value integer into a character. Right, so here we see on line 1, we have a string that holds ABC. They loop through the string, and they're printing out the character by wrapping it around the OR method, and therefore prints out and converts it into its ASCII representation, right? So 97, 98, 99. We see that here on the table. The lowercase a, 97, 98, 99. Keep in mind there are two different ones, being capital or lowercase. They each have their own individual value. And then we grab integers as well, and we print out their character value of it, where they're being A, B, or C. It's supposed to be a num, right? So we were able to grab like what the number value would be and wrap it around the character value or the character method, and it returns to you what it would be in the ASCII table. So just nice and interesting to know that you can do it. We'll talk about it in a bit. So coin strategies is where it can be helpful, where they ask you to shift certain characters in the alphabet, converting the characters to their ASCII values. So if you ever run into any kind of LeetCode problems, that's where the ASCII values come to play. Just look up the chart to find out what they are, and then every single language has their own method of converting it, right? Just changing the type, OR and character being those. For general awareness, ASCII was the first major character encoding system for data processing. Remember that the GUI to the memory on your computer, there's a lot of layers of abstraction. This is just another one. Right. Final thought, RegEx and ASCII, both of these things are just tools on your tool belt. In Python, you can accomplish pretty much everything while the use of these tools, but it's always nice to have them. Right. So typically when you want to find something in your list, you would essentially, or in a string, you would loop through it, try to find it, right? Compare it, the values. RegEx gives you that power to be able to filter through your string using patterns and recognition to find what you're looking for. So it's a tool. Doesn't mean you can't do it without it. It's definitely possible, but it removes all those extra layers of steps and gives you the power to find what you're looking for with much more ease. They're built-in tools. ASCII just being another one if you needed to find the character value for it. Not something that's very common these days, but it is something you can do. And then the ASCII practice, you are more than welcome to try this on your own. It can be a little confusing. When you look at the README and you try to do it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So you're more than welcome to try out the ASCII character practice.py if you need to, but not necessary. It's not gonna make or break you during the immersive program. But pretty much that is all of lesson 13. Now, lesson 14 is going to be our last and final lesson for FOP officially wise. It's not much to it, but everything that you've learned up to this point should, in theory, made you a much better programmer, right? If not, if it's not because you learned something, it's more for the fact that you got more practice, working with code, watching your terminal, seeing the results of what your code is doing, debugging it, and then learning from your peers. So at a bare minimum, you should be a much better programmer than you were 3.5 weeks ago, right? On top of that, you have much more tools under your tool belt. You understand for loops a lot better, time complexity, space complexity. You have stuff like RegEx. You're able to visualize your code thanks to classes and objects, the different methods, and what they use, or how to use them. So up to this point, I guarantee you that you're a much better programmer than you were when you first took the assessment. So lesson 14 is kind of a way to kind of just see how much better you've improved over time. Hopefully, if anything gives you some kind of confidence, it's going to be lesson 14. It's going to be going through the pre-work challenges, speed run, but in Python. A large majority of you guys came in knowing JavaScript and probably took all your entirety of the assessment in JavaScript. Just for out of curiosity, how long did it take you guys to complete your assessment? I'm just curious to know.
Are we talking about the
For-
assessment or like the challenges?
The coding challenges, right? So the Coderbyte assessment challenges. If you guys remember this, how long did it take you guys to complete this? Just you can go whenever you want, whoever wants to talk first.
Personally, for me, it took me about like, I want to say like maybe about a month to finish all of it. Like I remember I was stuck on like one of the challenges, and it took me about 3 days just to complete it.
Yeah, Cody.
This was part one of the assessment, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, this was the initial assessment.
So I found out about this Thursday and it was due Sunday. So I busted it out and I got the bare minimum. So that's where I was at on that one. I literally spent all day on it from like Thursday to Sunday. So
Wow,
yeah, it was fun.
Eric.
I recognize these from the pre-work. I don't remember. I actually applied to Code Platoon a long time ago,
Okay.
relative to when I'm starting. So I don't know if these are actually the same questions or not, but I do recognize them from the pre-work. The actual assessment to get into Code Platoon, I think took me like 10 or so days. And then these questions, they look all like the ones from pre-work. I got through all these. I think it was like 3 or 4 days, but I didn't get all the test cases 10 out of 10 for I want to say another week or so afterwards. I think it was the counting minutes I was hung up on. But
Okay. Mikhail, I'm gonna take a guess. Maybe 2 days tops.
I don't really remember.
Really?
They're different from the initial assessments.
What?
Oh, so
Did
I
they
don't.
change it?
yeah, I
So-
think
so-
this is, if you look at the pre-work, like the weekly questions, I'm pretty sure that's what these are.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the pre-work. Oh yeah, it was a couple days.
Joseph?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he's away from his keyboard. All good. I did this. These are the exact same ones that I did coming in. It took me close to 2 months, man. 2 months. I think the longest one I was stuck on was like a week and a half. And I'm surprised that you guys, some of you don't recognize it. Maybe it did change. I don't know. You know, things change with time. But these are the ones that I came in with, and it took me about 2 months. And all of it was done in Python because you have the option to do it in your own language if you didn't know JavaScript. I came in knowing Python. But we're going to be doing these. We're going to we'll try 10 minutes at first, and if it looks like you guys can complete them in 10 minutes, we'll move on to 15. But yeah, so this is what we're going to be doing for lesson 14. We're going to redo all 12 pre-work. Oh, I guess there are pre-work now. Coderbyte challenges in Python without looking at your previous work. All right, so no cheating here. No ChatGPT. No, I mean, you have to look up some certain references methods. By all means, you guys do that. Don't use ChatGPT. Don't use any of your code that you have from previous challenges. If you guys open up the slide, click this link here. It should take you straight to it. Make sure that you guys have your ad, or I'm sorry, not your ads, your pop-up blocker disabled for the site, so it can actually open it up for you. We're gonna tackle them one by one, and we're gonna discuss Big O and possibly even alternate solutions. So make sure as you work through the program or the assignment, try to think about your time and space complexity. All right, so if you guys did it before and you did, nested upon nested for loops, try to change that up. Now you have different things on your to build that should allow you to do it. We're gonna start these today. And we'll probably do this until 7:45-ish, and then we'll break into some pair programming in groups. And yeah, so we'll do this for about an hour and then move on to pair programming. Sound good? So go ahead and open it up. It should take you to a site that's gonna ask for your name and an email address, and you should be able to start. Make sure your ad blocker is disabled or your pop-up blocker. The time is 7:43. While you guys open it up and whatnot, to get ready, I'll allocate to that time. So you guys have till 6:55 to do the first assignment. Go ahead and give it a try. All right. So I'm going to share what I have, and then I would like to see someone else that got something if it's completely different than what I did. All right, for the first reverse challenge, it was hopefully if you pay attention to some of the stuff that we did earlier in the class, you probably would have guessed how to reverse a string. It should have been just a one-liner by assigning string param and then changing the way that it's essentially set to pretty much say to not start from the back, you're going to reverse it. So you don't give a start or an end, but you step by one, therefore reversing your string. All right. If you did this, it should just return it to you backwards. We can run and test the code, and it passes every single test, right? You should have all green. Who did not do the reverse string like this?
I did the same thing, just without the actual variable. I just added the splicing part to the return statement.
That's fine too. Who did not do this? It's okay. We're not gonna make fun of you. Everyone did it like that.
I didn't do it like that.
All right, let's see it. Let's see it, Cody. It's okay. I like.
No,
I
I
just want to see your thinking process.
Oh, well, I didn't get it either. I should have gotten it, but there's still an issue. Here, let me restart my screen.
Yeah, what's the issue? Let's see it.
All right, so I mean, when you said one-liner, I was like, I'm missing something. But yeah, I was just doing left and right to the beginning and end, and then I was basically just swapping them. So left comes right, and then right becomes left. Then I decrease left and increase right, and as soon as left is less than right, then it would stop.
Okay.
And it would work if it's even or odd, but
I see what you're trying to do. Okay. Yeah.
but then I get these errors here. It's like out of. I mean, so that's like the logic behind it, but I just have to play with it to get it.
Okay. Well, now you learn a nice efficient way of doing it, right? Just the colon -1 will reverse the entire thing backwards. All right, cool. All right. Next is going to be your first factorial. I'll give you guys 7 minutes for that. Go ahead. All right, I'm assuming everyone's done. All right, I'm not gonna lie, that took me a lot longer than I wanted to. I was like confused how to do it, overthinking it myself. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So here we have the function where we had simply take a number being passed down and return the factorial of it. For example, if the number is going to be equal to 4, then we should return the result of multiplying 4 by well, multiplying num by one less value of it. So we would get 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, therefore resulting in 24. Right? So every single time we multiply, so we multiply 4 times 3, that'll give us 12. We have to multiply that 12 by 2, giving us 24, and then multiply by 1, and then giving us 24, right? Multiply it for all its numbers that it consists of. So I created a small little counter here, which gave me the next value that will come after num. So if my value was 8, the next value that I would have to multiply will be by 7. And then I just said while the counter was greater than 0, I would do the following. So I multiplied num. Well, I assigned what num is now to num multiplied by the counter, which would initially do that was 4. It would do the 4 times 3, which would give me 12. Assign it to what num is now. Then I will lower the counter by 1. So that this will, what initially was 3 would now become 2. It goes back in around, and then num has become 12. I multiply that by 2, gives me num, and so on and so forth until I reach the end of my counter, right? Therefore, coming out of the loop, and then I'll just return num. And as we see, it passes all the tests. Cool, straightforward. Who wants to share their code? Who did it in a different way?
I did it recursively.
Yeah, same.
Okay, that's good too. Want to show us how you did it recursively?
Yeah, are you seeing my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I just have base case of if num equals 1, return 1, else return num times first factorial num minus 1.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great example of how recursion can work on that. I wasn't even running my entire test. I just saw that you do that too. I just ran mine too. Got 10 test points. So cool. Good stuff. Who did not do it recursively? Who did it manually as well?
Yeah, I did it manually,
Was it did it
without
look like
that
mine?
counter that you had. Yeah, it's like yours, but without the counter.
Okay, let's see it.
Yeah. Sure. So you guys can see it?
Yep.
Yeah, so I did the total equal to 1, and then instead of that while loop, I just did a range, and I went backwards. So you have the num it starts at the num, and then it's gonna go to 1, and then I'm doing a negative iteration. The steps are going backwards. So I just said total times equal whatever I is, and I is gonna start at the num, and it's gonna go all the way to 1, and then you just return the total.
Oh yeah. That's another great way of doing it too. Cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it's pretty sweet. Okay. Awesome, boys.
Yeah, I
Let's
also
move
did it manually too.
just like that.
I also, yeah, just like that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. A different ways of accomplishing it. Are you guys feeling more confident with these the second time around? Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me personally, like it's eye-opening knowing that there's actually multiple ways. I thought only doing the while loop was the only answer for this because I'm submitting this with the while loop. I didn't actually knew anything about recursions till like a little bit yesterday. So
Yeah. Sweet. Sweet. Okay. All right. Time is 7:06. Next one is gonna be at till 7:16. Go ahead and try out the longest word. Okay. Let me share my screen. So this was my solution. I want to stop on time. I didn't want to continue time. I solved 9 out of the 10 questions, and we'll cover the last one in a bit. So I use the RegEx module, imported regular expressions. I created my pattern, which is just collecting anything that has A through Z, lowercase or capital case, for as many times as it appears. I use the find all to return a list of all my words. That got rid of all the punctuation. And then I just created a small little variable called max length and an empty longest word. I looped through the list of my words and I checked if the length of the word was greater than the max length I currently had. Then I would assign that word to longest word and then update what my max length was. And I would only change it if there's another word that was greater than that one. Afterwards, I just assign longest word to send and return send, so I didn't have to manipulate the code that goes here, right? That solves all the run test cases here. And then upon submission, there is one that I got wrong, which was, I believe, test case 10. And that was because it was all numbers. So, and I stopped there because of time, right? So we can see view incorrect test, and it was the number aspect. The correct output was this, but I didn't take into account numbers. Maybe I just misread the question. But yeah, that's pretty much how that worked. What's the pass? I forgot this. What's passing in points? Oh, it's just accumulated points, right? If I'm correct.
I think you
But yeah.
needed 8.
80.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that was it. Out of 12, so if you got 10 points on 8, you're good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I did. I didn't want to continue and solve the numbers because we ran out of time. Who wants to demonstrate theirs? Who was able to complete all 10? No one got all 10 points on that one?
I got all
Yeah,
10.
I can.
Go ahead.
Let's see, Mikhail.
So I imported the regex and I did the list re.split, and I used the backslash uppercase W because this says anything that's not a word and it'll select it, and then the backslash S, which is space, and then I did the plus so that it's like one or more of any of these two. And so that what that RE split does, it makes it into a list. And then I just assigned the longest to the first value in that list, so at index 0. And then what I did was use the for loop to iterate over the list. So I said word in the list, and I said if the length of the word is greater than the word that I assigned to longest, I then make longest equal to that word, and then just return the longest. And yeah, that's all.
That's nice. I guess that's my mistake, right? I was grabbing just alphabetical stuff, right? Where yours, you got everything that just wasn't space or. So that's a good solution. Awesome. Nice job. Who did not use regex?
I solved it without it. But I got 9 out of 10, and it was the number as
That's
well.
fine.
So let me actually share here.
It's fine. See it.
Okay. So yeah, as you can see, the number test case was what I got wrong, but essentially what I did was I unpacked the string into just a comma separated list of characters essentially. and I kind of have a placeholder longest value here. I created an empty word array, and then I iterated through each letter in this array and checked if it was alphanumeric or if it was a space. And if it was one of those things, I appended that letter into the array. And then here, I'm essentially joining and splitting to get rid of, or actually just get clean words into another array that I can then iterate through again here, and essentially find the longest value. So it took me a second. I wanted to solve this with the RE module. I just couldn't import it. For some reason, it wasn't working on my machine.
Okay. That's cool. Okay. Anyone else not use regex similar to how Eric did it? Awesome. Well, now you see the power of regex, right? So that's pretty cool to be able to use it like that. A very powerful tool. It keeps you away from, you know, using brute force in your code. And not that that was wrong. All right, you know, he found it in his own manner as well. You can do that too. And that just goes to show you how regex is a tool, right, to, you know, take your coding to the next level. And you can obviously do it without regex. It requires a little bit more brute force in the way that you code, having to manipulate every single thing in there. So both ways, all right. It's up to your own discretion of how to do it. Pros and cons go to both of them, but good stuff. I enjoyed seeing the different examples. Time is going to be 7:23. We're going to stop here, go on a 10-minute break, and upon returning, we're going to break up into groups. And we'll do some pair programming on a couple questions, okay?
So let's see. Can you see it?
Yep.
So we did was we created 2 pointers. So one of the pointers will be traversing through the string the S string, and the other we have the pointer 2 would be traversing in the T string. So while pointer let me just correct that. While pointer 1 is less than the length of S, and pointer 2 is pointer 2 is less than the length of T. So basically we're essentially going through a loop, right? We're going through a while loop just to make sure that we can compare the strings. So if S pointer 1, so if the first index of S is equal to the letter of the index of T, so if S and T have the same letter, we're gonna go ahead and then increase the pointer. So basically we're essentially, so this if statement is essentially saying, hey, both have the same letter, we can go to the next one. And then else if they don't have the same letter, then we only increase pointer 2, because we just want to make sure that pointer 1 has the same letters, we want to make sure that pointer 1 has the same letters as pointer 2. And we're just making sure that with this, we're going through the whole T string, essentially. And then we return if the pointer 1 is equal to the length of S. So if we run it, we get this, we get the expected output. I'm not sure if I explained it too much. If someone from my group wants to explain a little bit better.
If you submit it, do you get?
Did that pass all 20 test cases?
Alba asked the same thing too.
Oh, we didn't try that.
Yeah, we didn't even try that.
Okay. Sweet.
Low as hell.
We passed 17 of 20, and we were working through. We didn't use the 2 pointers technique.
Can I see what you guys did?
No. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'll let Joseph talk to it.
If you stop sharing, I'll share it.
Okay.
So we tried like we were just kind of working through it, but essentially we just wrote like a base case if the length of the second string was the length of the first string was bigger than the second string, then we're just going to return false. Because this couldn't be a subsequent string of this if this is bigger than this. And then we just sorted, joined, and then compared the value from in S and T. But we didn't take into account obviously a situation like right here where we were having a lot of trouble still trying to figure out the spacing for the indexes of the values. We got
So, and
17
you
out of
can-
20.
We accidentally left the import RE at the top over there. We were talking about potentially
Oh yeah.
using like defining a kind of like a dynamic regular expression with an F string based on what the input string was, the S string. So kind of like dynamically identify, what that regular expression would be, and then see if using like search re.search if that was in the T string. So I didn't get there. Spent most of our time. We went the other way. So spent most of our time kind of spinning our wheels on the first one, or the medium one, and then got to this.
No, I totally see where you guys are coming from. It makes sense to sort it alphabetically. So I totally understand that.
All right, I'm gonna cut you guys there. This is gonna conclude today's FOP. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the